There are 5 trucks sitting on used lots right now that will run past 300,000 miles and cost you about half of what a Silverado costs to keep on the road. The thing that kills these trucks is not the badge on the tailgate. It is one small piece of technology hidden inside the engine, and it has been in almost every half-ton Silverado built since 2007. So how do you spot it in the first 30 seconds, standing in the gravel, before you ever shake the man's hand? It is a Tuesday morning in my shop, and there is a 2016 Silverado sitting on my lift with 118,000 miles on it. Pearl white, clean truck, spray and bed liner, good tires, and the man who owns it changed the oil every 5,000 miles and kept every receipt in a folder in the glove box. His name is Ray. He pulled a camper with it twice a year and drove it to church and back the rest of the time. And the engine is ticking. Not a soft tick, a tick you can hear across the parking lot with the hood shut. They asked me what it is going to take. I already know before I pull the valve cover because I have done this same job more than 40 times in the last 6 years, and I hate what I am about to say to him. It is a collapsed lifter. And when a lifter goes flat on this engine, it does not stop there. It chews the lobe right off the camshaft, and that camshaft sits deep down inside the block, under the intake, under the heads. To reach it, I have to take the whole top of the engine apart. Parts, gaskets, lifters, cam, labor. $5,800. Ray's truck is worth about $17,000 on a good day. He sat down on my creeper and put his hands on his knees and said the thing every one of them says. He said, "Dale, I took care of this truck." And he is right, he did. That is the part that makes me angry. My name is Dale Merrick. I have been turning wrenches for 34 years. In the same building my father ran before me, and my grandfather ran before him. 3 generations of us in one building, fixing the same trucks for the same families. Quick word before I go further. The old methods my family uses, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book you can buy in our pinned comment below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. I spent 19 years running the shop for a county road department with 60 trucks in the fleet, and I have spent the last 15 in my own 2-bay shop off the highway. And in all that time, I have never seen a good engine fail this often for a reason this small. And I need to be honest with you, because I did not learn this out of a book. I bought one myself, a 2015 half-ton with the 5.3, paid $28,000 for it, drove it 61,000 miles. At 141,000, it started ticking in my own driveway on a Sunday morning while I was warming it up to go get feed. I am the man who fixes them for a living, and I still bought one. That is how good the marketing is. Now here's what I want you to understand before we go one step further. There is nothing wrong with the bones of that truck. The block is iron in the right places, the frame is straight, the axles are strong. The 5.3 is an old design that goes back to the small block Chevy, and it will run 250,000 miles if you leave it alone. Nobody leaves it alone. Somebody in an office added one thing to it, one system. And that one system is why Ray is out $5,800, and why my neighbor is out $6,200, and why the used lot on Route 9 has 4 half-tons on it right now, with the hoods up. So what is it? What is the one thing? And why on earth would a company build an engine that eats itself from the inside out and then sell it to a man who hauls a camper twice a year? Here is the answer, and it is going to sound too simple. The engine shuts cylinders off while you drive. That is it. That is the whole thing. General Motors calls it active fuel management on the older trucks and dynamic fuel management on the newer ones. The rest of us call it AFM and DFM. What it does is this. When you are rolling down a flat road and not asking much of the engine, the computer shuts off half the cylinders to save fuel. On the 5.3, it drops 4 of them. The valves stop opening. The pistons keep going up and down, but they are just along for the ride. Then when you touch the throttle, it wakes them back up. Hundreds of times a day, every day, for years. Now, here is why that matters. And this is the part almost nobody explains to you. To shut a cylinder off, there has to be a special lifter in there that can collapse on command. A normal lifter is a solid piece of steel that rides on the cam lobe and pushes the push rod. A deactivating lifter has a little pin inside it that pulls out so the lifter can squash flat and stop pushing. That pin is held by oil pressure and a spring, and it is about the size of a pencil lead. When that pin sticks, or when the oil is a little dirty, or when the truck sits in the cold, the lifter collapses when it should not. The moment it does, it stops spinning right on the cam lobe and it starts grinding. Metal in your oil. Then the lobe goes flat. And once the lobe is flat, the whole top end has to come off. What killed the engine was not hard work. It was a pin the size of a pencil lead, doing its job 400 times an hour for 10 years. And I will tell you something else that goes right along with it. These engines burn oil. The same system dumps extra oil into the cylinders that are shut off, and it fouls plugs and it eats the rings. I have pulled dipsticks at 4,000 miles on a well-kept truck and found it 1.5 quarts low. The owner had no idea. There is no warning light for low oil until it is already too late. And low oil is exactly what kills the lifter. So it feeds itself. Now here is the contrast I want you to sit with. What does all that trouble buy you? About 1 mile per gallon. Maybe 1.5 miles if you drive gentle on flat ground. Over 15,000 miles a year at $4 fuel, that is somewhere near $160 saved. In 10 years, $1,600. And the repair is $5,800. You are being sold a system that saves you $1,600 and has a decent chance of costing you $6,000. That is the trade. Nobody put it on the window sticker that way. Here is the counterintuitive truth, and once you hear it, you cannot unhear it. You are not buying a truck. You are buying an engine and a transmission with a truck wrapped around it. Everything else is a door handle. The paint, the screen in the dash, the heated seats, the crew cab, the trim level, the tow mirrors, none of it will ever cost you $6,000 in one afternoon. 2 parts on that whole vehicle can bankrupt a repair: the engine and the transmission. So when you go looking, you do not shop for a truck, you shop for an engine. And what you are looking for is a boring one. No cylinder shut off, no turbo, no direct injection if you can help it. A camshaft in the block, a chain on the front, port injectors, and a push rod. The most boring engine on the lot is the one that will still be running when the paint is gone. So let me give you the 5, and let me tell you exactly what to look for, and exactly what each one will cost you when it does break, because every truck breaks. The first one is the Toyota Tundra, with the 5.7 V8, and I mean the years 2010 through 2021. The engine code is 3URFE. It has no cylinder deactivation at all. It has a timing chain, not a belt. It has port injection, which means the fuel sprays onto the back of the valve and washes it clean every time it fires. So you never get the carbon buildup that chokes a direct injected motor. 381 horsepower. I have 3 customers pass 300,000 miles on the original engine, and one at 412,000 who delivers auto parts. Here is the trick with this one. The starter is buried underneath the intake manifold. When it goes, and around 200,000 it does go, you are looking at 6 hours labor and about $900 total. So if you are already in there for any reason, put a new starter in while the intake is off. Any shop will do it for the price of the part. And stay away from the 2007 through 2009 model years unless you know the air injection pump has been done, because that repair runs $3,000. Now the second one, and this is the one that surprises people, the Ford Super Duty F250 with the 7.3 gas V8 2020 and newer. Ford calls it Godzilla. It is a pushrod engine with the cam in the block, port injection, and no turbo on it anywhere. 430 horsepower and 475 pound-feet, and the oil filter is right on top where you can reach it standing up. Spark plugs are about $80 for the set, and you can do them in your driveway in an hour. If the newer ones are out of your money, the same idea lives in the 2011 through 2016 F250 with the 6.2 V8. Same deal. No deactivation, port injected, chain driven. Third is the Nissan Titan with the 5.6, the years 2005 through 2015, engine code VK56DE. Nobody wants these, which is exactly why you want one. You can buy a clean one for $8,000 to $11,000 when the same year Silverado is 17. 317 horsepower, timing chains, port injection, no deactivation, and a Nissan truck that has been beaten on for 200,000 miles is still a Nissan truck. The known weak spot is the exhaust manifold studs. They crack and it ticks on cold start, and folks mistake that tick for a dead engine and sell the truck cheap. It is a $600 to $1,200 job. Learn that sound and you will steal a good truck from a man who thinks his motor is done. The fourth one is the Toyota Tacoma with the 4.0 V6. 2005 through 2015, engine code 1GRFE. Smaller truck, and if you are pulling a gooseneck, it is not for you. But for a man who hauls a load of mulch and a ladder rack, it will outlive you. timing chain, port injection, no deactivation. The one thing you must do is get under it with a flashlight and put your hand on the frame rail behind the rear wheel. There was a serious rust problem on those years, and Toyota replaced a lot of frames under warranty. If the frame flakes in your hand, walk away no matter how clean the paint is. And the fifth one is going to make you laugh, because the truck that outlasts the Silverado is a Silverado. It is the 2500 HD with the 6.0 Vortec, the years 2011 through 2019, engine code L96. Same family as the 5.3 and raised truck. Iron block, port injection, chain, and no active fuel management because General Motors did not put the fuel saving system on the 3/4 ton trucks. Same brand, same dealer, same parts counter, and the thing that kills the half-ton is simply not in it. Parts are everywhere, and they are cheap. A water pump is $250. Plugs are $40. Any shop in any town can work on it in their sleep. Now here is how you check any of these in 30 seconds standing in the gravel. Ask the man to leave it cold and start it in front of you. Not warmed up, cold. Stand at the front bumper with the hood open and listen for the first 20 seconds. A tick that fades as the oil comes up is usually a manifold stud or a noisy injector. A tick that stays or gets louder is a lifter, and you walk. Then pull the dipstick and look at the level and smell it. If it smells like a gas station, the injectors are leaking down. Then get the 8th digit of the VIN, which is the engine code, and type it into your phone right there. 30 seconds. And if you already own the half-ton and you are not ready to sell it, here is what I do for my own customers. Change the oil at 4,000 miles, not 7,500. Check the level every other fill-up with your own hand. And put a device on it called a Range Technology AFM Disabler, about $200. And it plugs into the port under your dash in about 10 seconds and holds the engine in 8-cylinder mode so those lifters never collapse again. It will not save a lifter that is already worn. It will save the ones that are not. I have put them on 30 trucks, and I have not had one of those 30 come back on a hook. Now let me back up and tell you what this is really about, because it is not about trucks. A working man buys a truck to make money with it. It hauls the mower, the tools, the hay, the kids, the camper. It is not a toy and it is not a payment. It is a tool, and every dollar it eats is a dollar that came out of the same pocket that pays the light bill. When a $5,800 repair lands on a man in one Tuesday, it does not just cost him $5,800. It costs him the credit card he puts it on. It costs him the week the truck sits in my lot while he borrows his brother-in-law's car. It costs him the argument at the kitchen table on Wednesday night. I've watched that happen 100 times from behind the counter, and I will tell you, the men it happens to are not careless men. They are the ones with the folder of receipts in the glove box. My grandfather ran this shop through the 60s, and he had a line he used on every customer who came in, asking what to buy. He said, buy the one everybody knows how to fix. Not the fastest one, not the fanciest one. The one where the parts are on the shelf, and the man at the counter has done it before. That is worth more than horsepower, and it is worth more than a warranty. Because a warranty runs out, and a parts shelf does not. And there is a bigger thing underneath all of it. Every one of these features was sold to us as progress. Cylinder shutoff for fuel, turbos for power, direct injection for numbers on a sheet. Every one of them adds a part that can fail. And every part that fails inside an engine costs 4 figures to reach. That is not progress for you. That is progress for somebody's fleet average and somebody's service department. Complexity is not a gift they gave you. It is a bill they mailed you later. So here is what I want you to do tonight. And it takes 5 minutes. Go out to your own truck with a flashlight. Look at the driver door jamb or the corner of your windshield and find the VIN. Count over to the 8th digit. That letter or number is your engine code. Type it into your phone with the year of the truck and the word deactivation. You will know in 2 minutes whether you own one of these engines or not. If you do, you are not in trouble today. You just know what you are looking at, and knowing is most of it. Then come down here in the comments and tell me the year and the engine you found and how many miles are on it. I read every one of them, and I answer the ones I can. I especially want to hear from the men over 200,000 miles, because that is the real data, and there is no place else that collects it. And if you are shopping this weekend, take the cold start test with you. Next time, I am going to show you the sealed transmission problem, the one where the dealer tells you the fluid is filled for life and never needs changing. It is not filled for life. It is filled until the warranty ends. I'm going to show you the $14 piece of clear tubing and the $2 fitting that let you change that fluid yourself in your own driveway in about 40 minutes. On a transmission the factory says has no dipstick. It is the single cheapest thing you can do to add 100,000 miles to any truck you own. Until then, keep the receipts, check the oil with your own hand, and remember that the boring engine is the one that gets you home.